Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak of SoliVita. The next few videos that I'm going to be presenting to SoliVita are about AEDs. But I did want to say something that people are concerned about. And one is, Good Samaritan laws are designed to encourage individuals to assist others in emergency situations by offering legal protection from liability. In Florida, these laws help shed people from civil lawsuits when they provide reasonable assistance to those who are injured or in danger, as long as their actions are made in good faith. Use of automated external defibrillators. Individuals who use AEDs in emergencies are also protected by Florida Good Samaritan law, provided they act in good faith. So basically what this is saying is Florida's Good Samaritan laws provide important legal protection for people who assist others in emergencies. As long as aid is given in good and without gross negligence, the law encourages citizens to help without fear of civil liability.
Let me give you a little bit of my background here in SoliVita. I moved here with my wife. She was working for Disney at 10 years ago, and we are now still residents of Verona. I got involved. I wanted to get involved with the community as soon as I could, and I became a captain. I'm proud to say that I was a captain for 7 years in Verona, which I believe is the second longest captain longevity that we had. I also became a member of the Safety and Security Committee that the newly established HOA board brought in. And as the Safety and Security Committee and part of it, one of my assignments was that they talked to me about the transition between the board, the club and the HOA and getting all the AEDs. Now, the club still has AEDs, has about 30 of them. And they're at the Riviera, they're at the Palms, they're at the pickleball courts, they're at all the club facilities. All the other AEDs that were basically in the neighborhood were being turned over to the HOA. I was asked to go with Jamar Edge, and at that time with the club manager, Sherry Wolfschlager, and with my friend Brian to inspect all of the AEDs that were being turned over to make sure that they were proper, that they were working right, and that we were going to be accepting them. I'm happy to say they were all. They did a good job, a relatively good job in maintaining them. We had 2 fire ant nests that we had to remove from 2 of them, but and some of them were completely hidden. We're looking at maps and trying to figure out where they are. The map says right here. The bushes have completely overgrown them. We had to either move them or cut down the bushes. But again, we took possession of 60-some AEDs. My friend and I were at that point then maintaining them. And maintaining them consisted every once a month checking them visually to make sure that they worked, to make sure that there weren't what they call blinking noise, or you have a blinking light and you also a bing, bing, a little sound, which means that the battery is dead. So we did this. After a couple of months, I said to my friend Brian, I says, Brian, I says, here we have 60 of them. They're not being, I've not had one that's been used. He said the same thing with me. A year goes by. And I, again, was saying, they haven't been used. 18 months. And so I started saying something is wrong here. How do I know they haven't been used? Well, if you take a look at the AEDs even now, you see that there's a white tag or a blue tag, a zip tag, that has to be broken when you open it. Plus an alarm is going to go off. Not one zip tag was broken. No alarms, no reports of alarms going off. So then I said, they're not being used. Why aren't they being used? I started looking for some answers. And it really is like one of those blinding flashes of the obvious. The fact that they're not being used is because there's nobody to get them. Basically the paradigm shift, and this is really a paradigm shift, is we have focused on going to an AED, getting an AED, and coming back. The problem is they call that 3-minute drop to shock. You have 3 minutes. Nobody's going to do that. In fact, if you take a CCC class today, the first thing they tell you, if your spouse, God forbid, has a cardiac event, you call 911 and you begin CPR. You do not leave your spouse to get anything, whether it's an AED or not. So I use the example. If you're in the middle of one of our 14 pools and you all of a sudden cramp up to the point that you start thrashing around, there's a lifesaver on the other end that doesn't do you any good. You're the only one there. You can't get it. The answer is not to get another lifesaver or one on all 4 corners, because nobody's still going to be able to get it. So one of the things we learned is that not how many AEDs you have, it's how many people can come and get it to you if there's a medical emergency. And the answer to that, unfortunately, is 0. Now, if I were to ask you, and I've done this as a practice, kind of like as a hobby, I ask people from SoliVita, how many times do you think AEDs have been used here? The answer I get most often is, oh, they're used a lot. And the answer that I got after 18 months is they've never been used. Now I hear that they were used once. We don't have any records of that. Now, incidentally, let me backtrack, because actually we have 8 documented uses of the AEDs. However, and this is the catch, they were all on club property, all 8 of them. Now, what's the difference? And the answer is there were people there who were able to assist. We have nobody who's going to assist now. So here's the crisis, and this goes back, and Faye, I don't believe that I'm exaggerating or creating hyperbole here. This goes back again to the soul of our community. Do we really care enough about our neighbors to provide assistance if there's a medical emergency? I believe we do. And until somebody proves me wrong, I believe we can develop a program here that can provide assistance to somebody who's suffering a cardiac event, or eventually for somebody who's fallen into the category of, I've fallen and I can't get up, which we have many, many examples of. So as I did my research, I found a program that actually was started in the villages by a man named Lou Simon, wonderful man, and met with him, drove down to the villages several times, met with him, talked to him, saw this, and met with the director of public safety there, with the fire chief. I met with all of them. They have something called Neighbor Saving Neighbor. And if you're interested, I can give you a link that shows how many news broadcasts have been about this. One, and CBS did this. But basically, they found a way using technology that if somebody calls 911 and says, my husband just collapsed and I think it's a heart attack, they will notify neighbors in the villages to come and provide assistance. This is, and again, they showed me the statistics. This has helped the survival rates go from 14% to 45%. Why? Because neighbors will almost always, and they did a study in this, 90% of the time, according to the Journal of Family Practice, neighbors will reach a victim 90% faster than an EMT would. We have a wonderful station right here, Polk County 37. It will take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get. If they're out on a call, they have to contact Osceola 85. You can add another 10 minutes there. You're looking at 25 minutes. Now, what does that mean for somebody who suffered a cardiac event? The statistics are frightening. Every minute after 4 minutes, you have brain damage. If the heart is not pumping, if the heart is not functioning, within 10 minutes, you can call a coroner. I'm not here to scare anybody, but we know today, looking at a 55-plus community, 800,000 Americans this year will suffer a heart attack. 600,000 of those will be the first heart attack with no prior history. so they don't even know that when they have it. We can do so much more than what we're doing right now. The proof is right here. Here are the ambulance runs for SoliVita for the 18 months that I was, or actually for 6 months, when I was part of the AED subcommittee. And it shows, and I highlighted these in yellow, all the cardiac events that we had in SoliVita. And to my best of my knowledge, none of them were ever assisted. When you know somebody has a medical emergency, and the answer is when the ambulance pulls up, and that's too late, unfortunately. So the program I began to develop, and talking with my associates and even talking extensively with the villages, is something called Ready Alert. And Ready Alert is a technical system that they will hook you up to 911 here in Polk County. And if somebody calls from SoliVita saying, my husband or my wife just collapsed, I think it's a cardiac event, they will call 911, and 911, of course, will immediately dispatch a EMT, but they will also dispatch or at least contact some neighbors that are, again, have already been volunteered to come and to provide assistance. Hopefully one will actually grab that AED that's a couple of houses down, and one will be able to help provide CPR. That's called the Cadre program. That stands for Community AED Responders. That is what I worked on for the last several years. I think, and again, I don't think I'm engaging in hyperbole here. I think we can save lives if we start doing something like this and help neighbor saving neighbor.